Hello, it's Charles Fockaert on March 13th, 2018. I welcome all of you from both YouTube and BitChute. I'm very pleased with the number of subscribers and viewers over at BitChute, and I wanted to make sure that I said hello to all of you. I thank you for your subscribing. Thank you for your sharing these videos, and I thank you for your support of this channel and the BitChute channel. This video is on electromagnetic propulsion of spacecraft. I've had confirmation of my thoughts that the United States government is withholding the electromagnetic technology from us, and that if they would release the information that they know the technology to propel spacecraft that they know exists, because they're probably producing them. There is no such thing. I get this straight out of the way here. There is no such thing as alien technology. Alien being from outer space, because there is no outer space. We've got to stop thinking about, we got to stop thinking in their terms, in their illusionary world, the world that they've created for us through Talmud vision, through the Hollywood movies, through the magazine and the books and all this media that we've been the education system, the government propaganda in the schools, the colleges, the university, all the way from public school with the globe in the classroom in kindergarten all the way up. There is no space. We're not going to Mars. We didn't go to the moon. All right, so it's like you have to take an eraser and you have to erase everything you think you know up here and then put it all back in, reprogram it, reformat, as we say in computer language, what you think you know. So get that out of your mind and you'll be a lot better off. You'll be able to better accept what I'm going to bring up here. I want to state right here, I've said it in previous videos, that I observed two spacecraft traveling at very high speeds, way up in our atmosphere, in Glacier National Park in August of 2010, the last half of the month, August. I was in my sleeping bag. I like to sleep outside in the open. It was a beautiful evening. St. Mary's campground is where I was, and that's about 4,500 feet. Very, very clear. There was no clouds. Sky was clear. I was in my on my air mattress in my sleeping bag. 3:30 in the morning. I had to get up to relieve myself. I did that. I laid back down on the bag. I was awake because I'm an early riser. But 3:30 is a little too early when you're camping to get up. So I laid down on the bag, and above me was a branch of a tree, something like this, and I was looking up through it, and I saw two spacecraft making maneuvers at a what appeared to me to be a 90-degree angle, and one spacecraft from the left, upper left, and one spacecraft from the lower right went over and met each other and maintained their position right there for several seconds, and then went right back, it appeared to me, to the same place. I'm trying to look in the mirror and try to create a 90-degree angle here. And they did that over and over and over again. And I could not believe what I had seen, because I realized what I was seeing was not two airplanes, not two jets, but I was seeing two, what we call UFOs. And I looked away, and then I looked back. Remember, I'm laying on the ground. It's a clear sky, and I'm seeing between these branches, I'm seeing these two spacecraft making maneuvers. Now, I don't know if the same craft went back or if they traded places and the other craft went down. But they were very high speeds, right to a point, and they would hover there, and these spacecraft looked like orbs of light. And I didn't see any plume exhaust, or I didn't see any contrails, I didn't see any chemtrails. And from my study since then, I've come to believe that these spacecraft were propelled by electromagnetic energy. And unlike Buzz Aldrin,
I watched another documentary called Astronauts Gone Wild. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin gets a little riled. All he was asked to do was to swear to God that he went to the moon, but he would not. He was faced with a moon landing denier, had a chance to show that he ain't no liar, but Buzz decided to punch that dude just for asking him to swear if he went to the moon.
I'm putting my hand on the Bible, and I'm swearing to you all who are watching this that I saw those two spacecraft in the second or third week of August 2010 at St. Mary's campground in Glacier National Park. I'm swearing to Almighty Yahweh that that's what I saw. So I know that those spacecraft exist because I was able to see them. Thank Yahweh that he gave me that opportunity that night to see that spacecraft. Okay, now I got another individual saying that we could revive our economy here in the United States if this electromagnetic technology that we know exists has existed since at least Admiral Byrd's 1947 Operation High Jump. That's a fact. And we've seen all the pictures of the National Socialist, the German spacecraft, and so we know that these spacecraft have probably existed since at least the mid-1940s. So why hasn't the United States government brought up or brought to the forefront or brought into production these spacecraft? And that's a big question that we need to get the answer to, in my belief. Let's go have a look at Greg Hunter's interview of Catherine Austin Fitts. I'm going to fast forward to about the 33-minute mark, and I'll put a link down below this description. You can go watch the whole thing. But the point I want to make is Catherine Austin Fitts is a lot more well-known than I am. I don't get interviewed on Greg Hunter's channel, but it's good for me. It's good for us to see that what I've been saying is now being collaborated by others in the mainstream and by Catherine Austin Fitts. So let's go have a look-see at that, shall we?
good thing to have manufacturing, even though it's less jobs than what it was on the way out, and it's more robotics and more high tech. This would be a good thing for America.
Yes, this will be a good thing for the American economy. There's no doubt about it. You know, so I wrote an article on the Trump campaign, on the Trump victory right after the election called The Productivity Backlash. And I basically said, look, you had a fight between, you know, it's rare that we have a presidential campaign where real policy issues are really debated and decided. But, you know, we had a group of people who are willing to strip America to keep the unipolar model going. And the people who won basically said, no, we're going to rebuild North America. We're going to make sure our base is strong. Now, if you look at what Trump has done with the budget, Greg, he's trying to do both. He's trying to keep the unipolar model going, but he's trying to rebuild America. And the question is, how long does he think he can keep the unipolar model going? It's a military question, and it depends on intelligence, which I don't have access to, particularly related to, you know, primacy and space weaponry. And that's why this latest speech by Putin was so at the heart of the matter and important. And that's why the debate about Russia is so important, because it really threatens the timing of how long we can keep the unipolar model going. But Trump's faction was the one that wanted to rebuild the heartland of America. And in many respects, I don't like necessarily some of the ways they're doing it. They're going about it very aggressively, but there's no doubt it will be good for the U.S. GNP.
Putin, now you brought that up. You know, I just thought, why would Putin say this? This is for public consumption. We know what he has. We know they have hypersonic missiles and submarines and missiles that go 200 miles an hour under the water and whatever. He and nuclear torpedoes, whatever he's got. We know all that. Why did he make that public statement that he was going to, you know, basically destroy America with these hypersonic missiles?
Because I think, well, what he put forward was a defense strategy, not an offense strategy. But I think Putin and the Russians are extremely concerned that America is going to try and come up with a first strike capability. In other words, that America believes that they can so surround them with missiles that they can get away with a first nuclear strike. And it's not that they're planning on doing a first nuclear strike. It's that they're planning on using that capability to force Russia into a dollar unipolar world, which Russia doesn't want. They want sovereignty. So what you're looking at ultimately is a military question that translates into financial and economic, you know, sovereignty or not. But I think they're trying to prevent the U.S. from having a first strike capability against Russia. As one military analyst said right after the speech, he said, well, America just lost the Russia military option. And that's the debate. Is that true or not? And I think Putin has been working since 2010, and certainly from the first time the sanctions went on, to do everything they could technologically and to make sure their weaponry could prevent a first strike option.
So you don't see war as a card here. Putin just basically took that off the table, saying, if you do this, you're gonna die, you're gonna suffer.
Well, I think Putin was trying to take the first strike option off the table. That's what I think he was trying to do. And
do you think he did it?
If you look, I don't know enough about the way. So the question is Putin bluffing or not?
Oh, no.
Now, if you look at his history, it's not his nature to bluff.
That's right.
So I would say 80% chance he delivered a very sobering message to the U.S. military. Now, the question goes back to the black budget. We've been building and transferring amazing black budget technology to private corporations for decades now. And the question is, what is the space weaponry capability that we have? And I don't know the answer to that. But I think that's the biggest question here. There's no doubt, if you look at the money, Greg, that the Chinese and the Russians are pouring into high-tech military capability. You know, the United States has started a space and arms war which could bankrupt us all.
So a lot of this money, a chunk of this 21 trillion, that's what we know of, there's more probably, has gone into the not so secret space program. Paul Hellyer talked about this, that they're spending a lot of money.
Yeah. So I believe a great, you know, I believe a great deal of the money that's been disappearing has been going into the black budget and the secret space program and all these underground base, all these different things, the covert side of life. You know, the black budget it's amazing, Greg, how wealthy we are considering how much has been drained off. It's incredible.
Well, that's a heck of a statement. Do you think there's technology, a cutting edge technology, alien technology, whatever you want to call it, that's out there that they could release that could fix a lot of problems in terms of America's indebtedness?
Absolutely. Our society operates on very old, very legacy technology. I mean, one of the things that most frustrates me when people start going yada, yada, yada about climate change is, wait a minute, since Tesla, it has been a political choice to use fossil fuels. If fossil fuels are so damaging, why are we using them? We don't need to use them. Do you think, if you've ever watched the UFOs, do you think they're operating on, do you think they're checking into Shell and getting gas? I don't think so. So, breakthrough energy technology has existed for almost 100 years. Why are we using legacy technology?
That's a very good question. And I think half the UFOs are ours anyway.
You know how I always say it doesn't have to collapse at all? The number one component of any corporate expense is energy and household expense. Energy. It's not labor, it's energy. We have the technology, and it's happening now with solar and some of the renewable energies. You bring that energy price way, way down, and do you have any idea the explosive wealth that could occur? I've said many times, I think the current financial wealth is 1% of what's possible if we find a way to integrate that technology. The problem right now is if you look at how they're planning on integrating that technology, their plan is very inhuman. I don't know. Did you see Tucker Carlson's rant on Facebook and Sean Parker?
No. What did he say?
Sean Parker, former president of Facebook, was bragging about how he had become a billionaire getting children addicted, and that they knew they were addicted to children. No, it gets even better. And then Parker brags about the fact that because he's a billionaire, he can afford the technology that will help him live to 160, while all the kids he addicted will be dying young. So we're talking about applying technology in a way which is inhuman. And the number one question before us is, are we going to be a human civilization, or a few people going to take this technology and use it to control and harvest everybody else? Because right now, if you look at the top, I'll never forget, I was at a conference on cryptocurrency last year, and I was talking with one of the venture capitalists, and he just looked at me and he said, look, we're going to take this technology and we're going to engineer out every job in America. Every job in America can be done by software and algorithms, and that's exactly what we're going to do. And you're looking into the eyes of somebody who's brilliant, but he's nuts.
Yes. And with that,
right.
We just skimmed the surface of this, the Solara report.
Okay, there you have it. Greg Hunter says that half of the, quote, UFOs are produced by the United States themselves, and that's probably an understatement. So we know if the United States has it, go back and look at Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd, 1947. There's a lot of YouTube videos and other information out there that these spacecraft existed in 1947, folks. And Catherine Austin Fitz, and she's not one of the stupid ones by any means. She says that there's technology out there that is being kept from us, and these evil, satanic Esau Edomites are using the technology in evil ways. You heard her say that Facebook, one of the upper echelon vice president, whoever in Facebook, knew what they were going to addict our young people. That's why I got off Facebook. One of the reasons I got off Facebook at least 3 years ago now. It's addictive, and Catherine Austin Fitts is saying that there's this they use alien technology. It's not alien technology, folks. There are no aliens. There are fallen angels, yes, but there's no aliens from outer space, no ETs. That's all make-believe, illusionary stuff that those who control us feed us, and we accept it with all of the propaganda and all the brainwashing, all of the Hollywood movies, all of the programs. You've seen them all, or you know about them. They don't exist. But the technology, the electromagnetic propulsion, Catherine Austin Fitts mentioned, who did she mention? Nikola Tesla. He developed it. He knew about it. He tried to get it into play. And you know what happened to his laboratory. And you know who did that? J.P. Morgan. Put the triple parentheses around J.P. Morgan, folks. And there was someone else's information I read the other day where his shop was burnt to the ground, and he lost all of his. Let me pause this for a moment, think if I can, and see if I can't remember his name. No, I can't remember, but if I remember who it was, I'll put a message below. I put a link below or some information below this channel or below this video. I want to talk about there is no fossil fuels. There are no fossil fuels. The idea that plant and animals got buried somehow deep in the below the Earth's surface, and we've been pumping, and that was converted to oil and gas. Come on, folks. It's abiotic. Go look it up. And the Russians know about abiotic fuel. That they've been developing technology to extract from deep wells below the surface of the Earth. So she mentioned fossil fuels. There are no fossil fuels. There are no aliens. There is no space. There is all this stuff. NASA drains us of $20 billion a year, and they use it on movies to convince us that space exists and that we went to the moon and all that, and we're going to Mars. We're not going to Mars. Get that out of your head. Take the eraser and get that out of your brain, because you look at the world through their paradigm and you're confused. Okay, back to the technology. Why isn't there an electromagnetic energy device that we could power our homes with? We could power our recreational vehicles. We could power our vehicles. We wouldn't need Shell, as she said. The technology exists, and our government, these Air Force people and these other military personnel, you know, the generals, admirals, and all the rest of them, they're keeping this technology from us because they want to remain in control of the oil revenue, the income produced. They want us to continue to depend on a source of energy that produces revenue for them. If we had a electromagnetic device that created energy, that we wouldn't have to stop at Shell and Chevron and all the rest of the BP and all Exxon. We wouldn't need them, folks. That's why this technology has not been brought out into the public arena so that it can be developed. They also, I want to mention here, and she mentions in the beginning of this video, I will leave a link below here. Go watch it. She's talking about the pensions. For the first 25-30 minutes, she talks about pensions and how the government is, they drain us. They suck away our productive capability. They they skim off the top and they leave us with the crumbs. They make their millions and their billions and their trillions, and you make a couple million, or you make some money and you pay the tax and you think you're doing well. Did you hear she said the amount of wealth that we have in this country is only 1%. And she also said that it's amazing how wealthy we are, despite the fact that they have drained us. They're harvesting us like animals and like slaves, and we're producing for them, and we're just giving them our money. The income tax is illegal. You're not obligated to pay income tax, folks. It's not in the law. They can't show you the law. I'm going to do a complete video on that. I'm working on it. I'm working on 3 or 4 videos at the same time. But I just wanted to get this video out there. They're withholding the technology that would turn this world back, right side up. Many of you would be able to create untold wealth if we had this new technology. And I told you in a previous video that on this little drive here, external drive, I have the plans to make a magnetically electromagnetic energy device. And I won't go into that, but I know this technology exists because I saw it, and I've seen the working plans right here that we could make our own. And exactly why that's not being done, I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but I'm trying to find them. There's probably something I've missed, but hey. So I'm going to leave it there. Our God, there's so much to talk about, and the sun and the moon and the level plane earth and electromagnetism and how we're being harvested. We're being the parasites. Put a triple parentheses around the parasites. These evil people are in control of our world. And if only we would be able to get together and work together and overcome these people and throw these people out and take back our means of not only being creative, but being able to keep the wealth that we produce and use it for good rather than for evil, which is what's being done right now. Military budget, $700 billion a year. NASA, $20 billion a year. She mentions $21 trillion in the black budget, folks. What do you think they're doing with all that money? Why do we keep giving them our money? Why do we keep giving them the results and the produce, the outcome of our creativity and the produce of our efforts? Why do we continue to like being slaves, I guess, is the bottom line question. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free has become such a cliche now and it's sad that most people don't even want to know the truth, and they wouldn't know the truth if it was sticking them right in the face. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing these videos, and I thank you over there at BitChute that you're subscribing and watching. The different kind of people over at BitChute than over at YouTube. A lot of positive comments there because the quality of people at BitChute is much better in general than the quality or the lack of quality of the people at YouTube. And I know that from the comments that I have to look through to approve or not approve. There's some real idiots out there, folks, but you already knew that. Thank you, and may the grace of God our Father be with us all, for we, our Father Yahweh, for we most certainly need it. See ya.